What's up, everybody? It's Chicago Sports Podcast on your edition of Monsters of the Madhouse, brought to you by TC's World of Wonders, Bridget Scoreboard, um, Serendipity Ice Cream Parlor. We've got so many sponsors out there. It's such a good time right now for us. We've got Underdog Fantasy, Chris Chelios's vodka. That's some good stuff, man. Have you tried that yet, Dano?
I had a little bit of it. I wouldn't mind having some right now, to be honest.
What's that?
Wouldn't mind having some of it right now, to be honest.
Oh yeah, man. I tell you what, guys. Well, let's get into the good before we get into the bad. So today, Ryan Poles went out and got ourselves another signing, and I think it was very important. It's a role player, somebody that could come off the bench. That's been serviceable through the years. Played for the Colts. His name is Jake Martin. He's a defensive end. He's got that continuity that we talk about with Eberflus,
Yep.
or they call Fluss now because he's got the cool beard, you know. So yeah, so picked him up basically on a 1-year contract, pending his physical, of course. He's 28 years old, so right under that 30 mark that we try to stay under. And I think our average age is like 26.3, which is one of the youngest teams in the NFL. He's appeared in 91 NFL games with 15 starts over 6 seasons with the Seahawks, Texans, Broncos, Jets, and then the Colts, and now the Bears. So he's been bouncing around like a BB in a beer can, but we'll welcome, we'll get some depth. I mean, right off the rip, the way I see this is I think that we are still going to go out and get a edge rusher in the draft. I mean, this is by far nowhere near where we end up. This is definitely somebody that's going to come off the bench and be serviceable. I think Yannick is basically gone. I don't think he'll be back. So definitely have to have somebody in there. Somebody outside of Sweat. So what are your thoughts on the signing, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. He comes from the Colts, so he should be familiar with Flus's defense. Like you said, he's young. Just a nice depth piece, and I totally agree. I think that if the big three receivers aren't there, they're probably going to go ahead and draft a defensive end edge rusher. Um, they also might be looking to trade down that ninth pick now just to grab some more picks.
Right. Yeah, I like what Foster Cover says. We need to get an edge, wide receiver, center, and guard. I really think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a good one. I think we're going to have a good, solid draft. We just ended up with another pick here. We'll get into that in a little bit. Bittersweet for most, and yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it. Moments ago, we had received news that quarterback one, Justin Fields, was traded to the Pittsburgh Steelers with a 6th-round draft pick in return. So, what are your thoughts about the trade compensation that we got from him? Do you feel like we could have did a little bit better, maybe at least get a 5th or a 4th or something like that? I mean, 6. I'll be honest. I tempered my expectations. I thought that potentially, a 2nd or a 3rd was probably asking too much. Depending on whether we could have potentially traded off one of our, draft picks and made it, more palatable for them to go ahead and, do this. But honestly, I don't know. For me personally, that 6th round seems a little bit, I feel like we could have did better on that. But I mean, as moments ago, Poles just said that they've been shopping him for a little bit, and this was the best deal that they could get for not only him but also Fields. So your thoughts, Dano?
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. When the season ended, I think we were all thinking 2 at least, right? I think I even heard
Yeah.
some talk about possibly a first round pick. But
Yeah.
I don't think Caleb Williams did Poles any favors by kind of not coming in for that meeting right after the combine. And then you start seeing the quarterback carousel filling up and filling up. You start getting nervous, like, oh man, like where's he going to land, or what's the compensation going to be? And then when you see Mac Jones get get traded for a sixth, you're like, oh. But the one thing I did think I read that the sixth pick could turn into a fourth round pick if Justin Fields plays 51% of the snaps. So
Say that again, brother.
what I thought I read that the sixth round pick does
Yeah.
become a fourth round pick if Fields plays 51% of the snaps for the Steelers next year.
Wow. So you're saying that there's a
There's
chance that he
conditions,
could.
conditions,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. So okay, so this draft pick doesn't come this year, it comes next year.
2025, yeah.
Oh, so we didn't even get a draft pick for this year,
No.
dude. Oh, that's rough, man. I thought we were getting a draft pick for this year. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's what I thought too. And then I was reading it just about 10, 15 minutes ago that it's for a 2025 sixth round, but it becomes
oh,
a fourth round if he plays 51% of the snaps or more.
I just like this statement moments ago from a Facebook user. We got Claypool. I mean, seriously, this guy. I don't know what it is that the Steelers have on us, but their GM owns polls, dude.
Right.
I
I don't know
swear, it's bad, bro. It's bad.
if he's
Oh.
got pictures of Poles doing something. I don't know, man. Maybe we ought to check to see if Poles is a Steelers fan when he was a kid, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I saw that too, Grizz, where it said that he'd be riding the pine underneath Russell. I mean, I could see, elder statesman, Super Bowl champ, seasoned veteran, whatever. You gotta give the guy something. I mean, he just, that's part of the whole deal about, pursuing somebody and having them come into your organization, to try to right the ship, is that you got to tell them and give them some sort of guarantee that you are going to be a starter. So with that being said, by all rights, it is his, he was there first. Obviously they didn't know they were going to get Fields. As you could see, they were making room the other day. We had no idea. People automatically came right out and said that, hey, look, they just traded off their quarterback. So potentially this is making room for Fields. Well, now I think a lot of people that thought that national media and all of the sources that were lying to us, that they were lying to us, and now those people that have those accusations out have egg on their face, because come to find out that Poles was doing his due diligence for a minute now, not as quite as quickly as we would have hoped, but at the same point in time, like you said a little bit ago, this whole situation with Caleb is crazy, because this is a rarity where a person will not show their physical transcripts, will not come out, to spend time, where the team is looking at them and saying, after my pro day. There's a lot of things that are going on that polls are probably just like, wait, what, and so potentially before even the legal tampering came out, that's why he basically said, hey, hop on the bus with us back to Chicago once you leave Indy, because we're gonna let some ink to some papers and see what we can do here, and he's playing a whole different deal. So I don't know. I can't say for sure, as you can either, or mainly anybody can. Only polls would know the answer to that, and I don't even know if you would want to fess up to that by being, played by a rookie, or not even a rookie, just a potential candidate. It's just mind blowing, and something that I think now, fast forward, you're going to have to start to look at this, because this whole NIL thing,
Yep.
it's real. The NIL thing is real, and these college kids, you don't just put them in a box anymore. They actually
Mhm.
think for themselves. They have
They have
different
money
wants.
already.
Yeah. Yeah, they have money already, and it just again, they're thinking for themselves, they're doing for themselves, and they're not going to be, shoved in, into any direction. I don't know what this means or what's going to happen. Nobody knows. We can only speculate. And who's to say that that is the kid that the Bears are even seeking or going after? I mean,
Right.
for all we know, that could just be one of many boxes that they check of other QBs. I mean, really quick, I don't know if anybody's in the chat that could help us out, but is there any other potential scheduled visits by any of the top 4 or 5 QB candidates? Is anyone else coming to Chicago to do what Caleb's doing? That is a big question there, Dano. I don't know.
Yeah.
But hopefully somebody out there does, you know what I mean? And we can get into that too. But man, I'll tell you what, getting back to Fields though, because I want to spend a little bit of time on him, man. I tell you what, that guy, talk about an amazing athlete. I mean, when we drafted him with the 10th pick, my mind was blown. I was like, did somebody slip something in my drink?
Yeah.
Like we actually went out and got a quarterback from Ohio State that is verifiable, like one of the best in that draft. I'm like, whoa, holy cow, man, these guys are really trying to save their jobs. You know what I mean, Dano? So
Yeah.
I was really excited. I thought it was cool. And then here comes all of the highlights and stuff, because he really wasn't on my radar. Quite honestly, I didn't even know if we were going to freaking go after a
Yeah.
quarterback.
I don't think anybody heard about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but and there was just some amazing moments. I'll never forget this guy. The rain day, I was out there watching the San Francisco game. It was pouring down rain. It was cascading off of the stairs. I was soaking wet. I had a raincoat on, but with a raincoat, you got shorts on. All of that water that channels down off of your top is now on your bottom. So my shoes are soaking wet, which didn't matter anyways, because we're all standing in puddles or
Yeah.
sitting in puddles in the north end zone. And this guy is just balling out against a prolific, one of the best defenses that I've seen in a while with the Niners. I mean, the whole team is just balanced front to back, and he was just cutting it up, man. I mean, that to me, that was, and I've been to probably 12, 14, 16 games or so within the last couple to like 2 years, just been, going to a bunch of home games. And that was probably my favorite one right there. It was really cool. It was really special the way that he handled it. And I think what was also cool, the Washington game, that was a cool
Yeah.
but the cool thing with that is it was a big stir because Trey Lance, that was at the very beginning of the season. And I don't know if you remember, but Trey Lance, he was kind of like,
Yeah.
obviously in the draft and everything and all of that. And it's kind of like me versus him type thing. So there was a big stir about that, so
Yeah.
it was a cool game.
Yeah, I mean, besides, we were a little bit too young to really appreciate the guy behind me, the Peyton. We kind of when I started paying attention to football, he was kind of near the end of his career. And other than Devin Hester, I mean, I can't think of any other player that is exciting in a Bears uniform than what Justin Fields has been. So
Yeah.
I mean, I could see why people have fallen in love with the guy. Others, I mean, not to mention that the guy he's just a great guy, hard worker. Everybody loves him. So, sad day that he's going to be gone.
It really is, and quite honestly, it is it is the perfect storm because quite honestly, if we didn't have this talented draft class with the
Right.
first pick overall,
Wouldn't even
if
be
we were
talking about
no, because if we were middle of the road and
it.
we potentially would have won, let's just say we had a winning record because we didn't even have a winning record this year. And we played against a trash schedule because the year before we were bootylicious. I mean, it was
Is that a
terrible.
technical term?
Yes, it's very, very technical. It, it was bad, man. It was bad. So that is a indication of who all the teams that we played this year and whatnot. And we didn't, to me, I don't think we fared as good as we did. And you hear people like, well, this guy costed us a game or this guy cost us the
Yeah,
game. If we would have did this or did that, we would have won. What if they turned off the Jets because they were just kind of cruising and
yeah,
coasting and playing, the other team could, would have, should have, could have the whole
yeah,
time, but at the end of the day, they won, and all they have to do is win. So, I mean,
yeah,
I'm not going against the fact of that we have some positive things to build off of, but I'm just saying that people do temper down their enthusiasm and their going 110% when you're playing against this team that has all these holes, and you don't
yeah.
have to, it's not college where you have to run up the scoreboard in order to keep it tight and stuff. You know what I'm saying, Dano? So
Yeah, they
uh,
played out to their level of competition at times.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, and like I said, it breaks my heart because the fan base is torn. They've been torn for a while. This was the most divisive. I mean,
oh,
you thought
yeah,
that the White Sox and the Cubs could divide a city. No, this divided the city, and this is something that us podcasters and anyone that's in media have been in purgatory for a while, because this is rough, man. This is rough to
yeah,
report. Some of my guys that are on our squad, they don't even want to come on right now. And I'm
right,
like, somebody has to, because we don't just get to report the warm and fuzzy stuff.
right,
We have to report the ugly stuff. We have to brush the tears away. We have to pull up and man up, because we love you guys and we're going to bring it to you. We want to hear what's on your mind. We're going to look at those comments. We're going to, chop it up and see what you guys are all about. And that's why Dan and I are here. I think we might have another one on the way. I think Brian might be here. If not, that's all right. We'll make it happen. So yeah, what are your thoughts, Dano? You got anything specifically you want to talk about?
Well, yeah, just like you were talking about the dividing the fan base. I think you've heard me say it. It's almost like a Chicago Bears civil war. You know what I mean?
I like that.
It's been that crazy, and
Yeah.
I'm I'm just glad it's over. I hate, like I said, I hate to see that a guy like Fields is gone, but now we can just move on. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
I would hope that most fans would welcome whoever's coming in next. You know what I mean? Because we're Chicago Bears fans. We're not of specific players fans. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And, I just looked at Honey Bear, Dee Honey Bear, Debbie Tuttle. She said she was one of the fans in the stadium at the end of the season cheering, "Keep Justin Fields. Best wishes to Justin and success." I mean, you're not alone, Honey Bear. I know one for a fact. Here's the deal. I don't know if you guys saw our thumbnail for YouTube, but obviously Poles and him was close. Even Kevin Warren, the president, been to his graduation. Justin Fields' graduation and all that. They're close. So I mean, it don't get no closer than that. Us as fans, who he doesn't even know our name. We haven't been to their freaking graduation. We're not in the building with him every day. He doesn't know who we are. We don't know who he is. We just see him on TV.
right,
And so those close relationships that he's built, that is a business decision that you have to make. And that's a tough one to make. And, moving forward, I have to trust Poles. I have to trust.
yeah,
Hey, and let's get it straight too, people. Okay. It's not just a quarterback that makes the team. It's the offensive line. It's all 53. It's the people that are freaking on the bench, that are on the practice. It's everybody. It's the guy that washes their jock straps. It's the guy that freaking sells hot dogs. It's all of that, man. It encompasses everything. And Poles has a decorated amount of staff, and these guys that he's trusted in, that he's vetted, they're there too. So let's not just say in Poles we trust. It's the whole freaking team. Okay, so he's got guys that do I mean, really, you guys give somebody a lot of credit because he's got a lot of crap to do. If you're saying what you think, think about it, you break it down. He doesn't have time for all of the exact detail nuances of every single freaking thing that you're charging him with. I mean, basically, he is the Chicago Bears, and that just, that's he's got scouts, he's got people that are, yeah, you know what I'm saying, to player personnel, all this stuff. So this doesn't just weigh heavily on his shoulders. Now today, does he make the final decision? Yes, but there are people in the building that bring him the material so that he can make that decision, because there's no way that he can be on point with every little damn thing. If you do that, you divide yourself so much that you're not going to be good and great at the things that you do. There's no way. It takes a team.
He's got to delegate, responsibilities to the people that he
Yeah.
trusts. And like I just want to say, guys, I just want to say real quick too, guys, he's not going to fill every single hole this off season. There's going to be, you know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of people are saying, well, we don't have this still. It's going to take some time. I know nobody wants to hear that. We've been waiting since 1985, unless you want to count 2006. But it's going to take time. No matter what they did this year, with the hall, without the hall, they weren't going to fill every single hole. And even the great teams have holes somewhere. So we're not going to have to be able to have 5 all-pro offensive linemen or all-pros at every level of the defense and every offense. I mean, it's going to take time, dude. And then another thing too, guys, you have your comments here. Now's your time to air them out.
Yeah, Grizz says Rippin and Badgett better bring some excitement this year. So that's hilarious.
Oh man, I hope not. Jeez.
To me, this is a playoff roster. I mean, really, it is. I mean, let's think about it. I've heard guys say, and I'm not going to, I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy. I'm not going to call anybody out by name, but I've already heard people say, I'm only going to watch the defense. It's like, come on, really? Is that where we're at? Like, we have an entire offensive defense, all this and that. We just got DJ Moore last year. He's fresh. Cole Kmet. We've got this new receiver, Keenan Allen. We've got some offensive linemen. We've got, Darnell Wright that we just picked up at right tackle. Are you seriously going to forego that half of the team and only watch the defense because Justin Fields got traded? I mean, if you're going to be mad at somebody, be mad at Poles, but don't be mad because he made the decision. And like I said earlier, his staff made the decision. But those players on the offensive side of the ball, they didn't make that damn decision. And it damn sure wasn't DJ Moore, because DJ Moore, like, he had a for real bromance going on with JF1, bro. I mean, he was like adamant about his, that was his road dog, man. He was like, boom, Justin Fields, I trust. I'm with him, ride or die. I mean, seriously, there's no way that I am going to let that side of the ball be, neglected and only watch. So what are we going to do? Like, let's potentially say that the person that said that they're not going to watch offense was a podcaster. Is that guy going to go on a podcast and only talk about defense? And now he's just going to twiddle his thumbs and sit in the corner, freaking waiting for us to talk about JJ or something? Like, come on, man. We're all Bears fans. At the end of the day, it stings, it hurts. If you're not one favorite of a quarterback, and there's a thing about the Chicago, it's always the other guy that you need to put in. It's always been that way. The Jim Miller, all these Chris Chandler, all these guys, freaking the other guy is always the better quarterback to have in here. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, here is like I've heard people say this, and now they're arguing against themselves. They literally said that we are in a very good time because no matter who it is, whether it be JF1 or upcoming in the draft, we are in a very good situation. And today, they're taking that back. I've heard what they've had to say. They're taking that back. So we need to calm the F down. We need to bear down. And we need to be there for our team. We need to be there for we're divided outside of 31 other teams. We don't need to divide ourselves and leave and go pick another team, because honestly, if you're in this belt, if you're in the Midwest, actually Chicago travels everywhere. So I'm not even going to limit them to the Midwest, but let's just hypothetically say that. Like, what other team are you going to pick from? Because I'm going to tell you right now, the way I see it, our defense is top of the four for sure. We're number one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Our receivers, top two. I mean, Justin Jefferson and Addison are not going to be able to stay together.
Right.
There's no way. And the Packers, they got two really young bucks that are there that they picked up out of the draft. They can't hang. They can't hang with DJ Moore. They can't hang with Keenan Allen. We've got some studs over here, bro, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I'm excited for the defense. I'm excited for the offense. And as far as the guys that are angry that Fields is gone, I think just the wounds are still fresh on them a little bit now. And it's going to take one touchdown pass until they're going to get on board with whoever the quarterback is next year. I would hope so, at least.
And I hope these people have tried to remember, if they ever did play, if they ever did take the field, they do understand and remember what it was like. Because I remember what it was like when a person had to move out of the area, or they leveled up to a better college, or you lost a player on your team, or your favorite quarterback gets benched, another guy comes up, whatever. Are you telling me that I'm not going to block because my favorite quarterback isn't under center? No, I'm going to block all the time, dude. I'm a professional, that's what I'm going to do, You don't.
What's one of the biggest things you hear in the NFL from the players, coaches? Next man up, right?
Next man up.
Next man up. So quarterback, next man up. Let's go.
You're wearing blue and orange, man. Let's start welcoming people in this city instead of turning them away. Because, who was that over on Sean and Maya's podcast? They had Hairston Jr. from the South. He comes on and he goes, folks, let me tell you something. People are watching your fan base. They're paying attention to how freaking disrespectful you guys are, how you guys are talking, and how you're doing. When it gets time to become a free agent, they get on the social media. They start looking. They start asking other players. They say, hey, how is it like? Are you welcomed? Are you loved? How is it like? And for us to be a part of the problem instead of a solution is hypocrisy. It really is. You're basically doing and acting exactly the way that you didn't want, hypothetically speaking, Ryan Poles or whoever that makes this decision to send Fields off into the sunset. You're basically acting like that, exactly like that. So we need to, like you said, channel our expectations, come down to reality, realize that there's only 30 other teams to go. And if you have any time on this earth, if you're seasoned, if you're 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever, and you've been watching this team, now I understand that. Those guys have every right to be salty, especially the 85 Bears who have not seen a good product on the field for a very long time. I am not going to get in their way of whatever they have to say today, man. Let it out. Let it out. So,
today's the day. Let it all out, man.
Yes.
Tomorrow morning, wake up. Let's go. The thing I'm afraid of is that whoever this new QB comes in is half the fan base going to be on him at the first bad play he makes. You know what I mean? Like, you need to get behind whoever's there.
Yeah. And if it doesn't work out for the next quarterback, hypothetically speaking, let's hope that he does. The fact remains is that, because we all know how excited we got when Justin came in the building, and we're going to get excited too when the next guy comes in the building. But what about the next guy that comes in the building? There was a point when people were saying, and social media was saying, that potentially Caleb didn't want to come here. If you guys are paying attention to what's being on and what's being said, why would he want to come here? Is he being welcomed with open arms?
Yeah. And it's all based off of hearsay, man. Like, nobody's been in the locker room with them. Nobody's been in the huddle with them. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're basing an opinion. How would you like to be based your opinion based off of what people say about you on social media?
And, I made a lot of dumb decisions when I was a kid.
Oh,
Most of
yeah.
them when I was in the military. I was over in the Middle East, and I made stupid decisions because I wanted to blow back some steam. I
Yeah.
couldn't believe where I was at. It was a high stressful environment, a lot of craziness going on, and I just am not the same person I am today. And thank God people didn't judge
Oh,
me for some of those decisions that I
another,
made. And
you have no idea.
I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing when you're in somebody's corner how many things that you can look the other way and be, forgiveful over. Whereas if your boy isn't where you want him to be,
Right.
how quickly you can, But so at the end of the day, these guys are all kids. They're all student athletes. They still
Yeah.
haven't even made it in the NFL yet. And to me, if you're in your mid 20s, almost 30, I could see exactly why people that are in their 50s, 60s still call people that are in their 20s and 30s kids, because
Right.
really you've got a lot of growing to do on this earth. I mean, look at, whether you are, religious or not, the story goes, Jesus Christ didn't even start discipleship till he was 30. So the greatest man that ever walked the earth had to wait till he was 30 years old to go out there and knock on some doors. That ought to give you a little bit of like,
Absolutely.
man, I can breathe, man. I can breathe.
Yeah,
So,
man. I mean, I'm not even the same person I was when I was that age, you know? I mean, if
no.
there's anybody
Uh-uh.
out there watching that knew me when I was in my young to mid 20s, I mean,
Yeah.
you would think that people would start to grow up and mature. So let's
Yeah.
let's give them a chance, man. Let's not base our opinions off of what we hear on social media or through whatever other crap you hear it through.
And I do remember there was a smear campaign about Justin having he had seizures.
Oh
And
yeah,
to my
yeah.
to my knowledge, he hasn't had one since he was 10 years old. And then when he got cracked in the ribs and hit a couple times, if there was ever a time to have a seizure, it'd be then. And he didn't have one. I was so nervous. I was worried that if we got him, they started leaking stuff out. Once he became a bear, like it resurfaced, it came back out. Chicago News. I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm hearing he's vegan. So I'm like, oh
Oh,
man,
dude, you just took that from me, man. I was gonna say
he's
that. I said
he's
I'd be
made out
more
of
worried about him being vegan than having
yeah.
seizures.
Yeah, I'm like, he's made out of glass, paper skin and glass bone.
Candy.
I'm like, he's a vegan. I don't understand this. I can't comprehend why a man coming to Chicago cannot eat freaking sausage and beef sandwiches and pizza and stuff.
Ain't
And
gonna see him at Morton's. There goes his
dude,
Morton's. Uh,
you get
but
that
yeah,
one
but
whiff of that great food, and you're like, I need to go visit somebody that's pushing a lawnmower so I can smell some grass, because that's what really smells good. I don't know what vegans, I'm sorry if you're a vegan out there. I don't
right,
understand.
yeah,
Please forgive me.
yeah.
I'm just a meathead. I was an offensive lineman. I don't understand all this.
It might come to it might come to a shock to our viewers right now that you and I probably aren't vegans. But
Oh, geez.
well, number two though, remember everybody having concerns about Cutler too with his diabetes. I
Yeah,
remember that
diabetes,
being a thing.
Cutler. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All that energy was there. All that energy was there for Cutler. All that energy was there for Fields when he first got here. There's always something. I'm sure they're going to find something in Daniels. They're thinking of some lunacy stuff right now because they're blaming it on PTSD because, Drake May is from North Carolina and he's
Yeah,
wearing the same uniform. Of course, he has to. And
right.
his jersey number's 10. And, like, oh, God, here comes Mitch Trubisky 2.0. Really? Really? I'm sorry. I'm not a meatball. Well, I am, but not in a sense that here's the deal. Like, I don't watch North Carolina games. The last time I really even pay attention to North Carolina is like March Madness and when Jordan was there. Let's get real. Let's get real. When's the last time anyone pulled up and said, I'm going to watch a North Carolina game? And then they look at Drake May and like, oh, God, this is Mitch Trubisky all over again, dude. Honestly, I really didn't have a problem with Mitch. I think he put, and there's a lot of teams in the NFL that have won Super Bowls with a quarterback that was Mitch-esque. Okay. They
Right,
weren't
yeah.
freaking fantastic. They were just Mitch-esque. So to that, I digress. Here's another thing I will say. There are more than one guy on the team to make it. We've made it there with quarterbacks that were less before. Rex was nothing to freaking get excited about. The only time he looked good was in the underwear Olympics and when he was throwing in freaking swim trunks, when he had the t-shirt and the shorts on and he threw the ball, man, he was so amazing to look at on, spring training camps and all that stuff. He looked really good, but come out there when people were up against him and he had some, some press coverage, third and, he throws that ball freaking 30, 40 yards to the third string defensive back, and he takes it back, in the Super Bowl. I'm like, to me, that was the problem anyways, because we had two badass running backs, and we were running it down their throat, and we potentially could have won that game if we didn't get our second string running back from Texas. If he didn't get injured, we would have you had Jones and Cedric, and that was it right there. So there's a reason right there why you got to have depth on your team, folks. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing I like about what Poles is doing right now. I think he's using free agency more so to build depth, and then he's going to try to get his starters or his stars in the draft. And I think that's a great way to build a team.
Yeah, exactly. Cheryl's getting some updated coverage right now. End of third quarter, Bulls 95, Wizards 69. Even if I'm a little off right now, I'm pretty sure we didn't blow a freaking 30, 40-point lead. So, or 30, my math.
Whatever,
yeah. That I agree. Mr.
Mayhem
Mayhem says it best. Mr. Mayhem says it best. The Bears failed Justin Fields 100%. Could not agree more.
You can't argue that. You can't argue.
I'm on the same side, man. I'm on the same side. I wish him the best. I wish he does good. However, you won't receive any more news from us because we are not the Pittsburgh Steelers. We wish him well. Hope he does good if we play against them. That would be interesting. And I definitely look for that to be a wrinkle in next year's, obviously not this year's schedule. Next year's, that's what NFL does the best. They get some juicy content in there for sure.
I just wanted to say too, real quick. I'm sorry, Brandon. That they didn't set him up the best, but there's nothing we could do about that now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's done. The damage has already been done.
Yeah. Like I said, great perspective for you and me, obviously, because you were speaking on it too. One team, next man up. I mean, that's what it's all about, man.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention. Remember football. Remember the field of play. Next man up all the time, man. Next man up all the time. And the team is greater than the sum of its parts. It's not just one guy. It's not just one quarterback. So pay attention and man up. Get out of your feelings. I know you want to get in your cry towel, and that's a Pittsburgh Steeler towel. So if you want to jump ship, hop on the freaking, go, be gone. Because I'm going to tell you right now, we are building something special. Poles and Company is building something special. We don't need you. We don't need an anchor. Every ship has one anchor. We don't need a bunch of anchors right now. So if you're going to pack your bags because of one guy, don't need you anyways. Sayonara, Arrivederci, all that stuff.
They say
goes to Judah. Goes to Judah, says Justin Section. Oh, I'm not going to read that. Steeler fan base just got bigger today. Oh my God, I'm not reading that either. Come on, guys.
You're killing us, man. You're killing us.
Here we go, Cheryl.
There we go.
Cheryl. Fields will be missed by some. I hope him all the best. He deserves it. He does.
Oh, there you go.
I hope he does good. I hope the young man does good. Because to me, he's still a kid too.
Oh, man, he's a great kid.
25 years old, man. Dude, and here, let's be real. Let's be real for all you meatheads out there that only have to hear or want to hear one thing. Because I'm sure you guys know or think you know that us two meatballs over here are sitting in the same crock pot and we're freaking Caleb sexuals or something or whatever you guys think that we are. We're not. We're bear sexuals or whatever that is.
100% Bears sexuals, baby.
Bears, dude, look, he's got a Peyton jersey behind him, man. So
I'll have my Hester one up next after that, and then I'll have my McMichael one on the next podcast.
Yeah, I got to get that to you, man. How you doing? Keep it moving. Hey, by the way, guys, thank you for subscribing and like this show. Make sure you hit that click button, that like button on YouTube. So click and subscribe to watch all of our content. We got 111 in the chat in the building, man. Let's get those likes up. Let's get those likes up. Make sure you subscribe and get those likes up, guys, because here's the deal. If you guys think that we're bringing good, positive content, that you are going to get your comments seen, that we're going to talk to you and acknowledge you in the building, that we're going to know the ghost of Judah, even though you're making my job really difficult right now, brother. Come on, man. Come on. I want to make sure you guys get heard in the building. You're not going to get that from a 4-letter network. You're not going to get that from NBC Sports Chicago, anything like that, even the regional stuff. You're not going to get that. If you think that we can go toe-to-toe and you like listening to us meatballs on Monday through Sunday and we bring it to you and drop it like it's hot whenever we can, hit that like button and subscribe. That's all we ask. It literally takes like 20 seconds. And every show that you get and that you see us, if you hit that little bell, it'll remind you every time that we come up, and boom, you can watch it and hit that like button, man. That's all we ask, and we're going to bring you more and more content. We've got a lot of cool stuff on the way. I know Dano right here has got a couple upgrades. He's got him going to get himself some new equipment to help him better his podcast. Dano's shared some things with me, so I'll be having some stuff delivered tomorrow. So you'll be seeing a nicer studio type background for me. So and then next weekend, was it Saturday, Dano?
Saturday.
Will Purdue's going to be in the building at Bridges Scoreboard. Go over there, check it out. It starts at 3:00. He's going to be dropping a podcast with Dano and I. We're going to do a quick little podcast, and then he's going to sign some jerseys and some hats and some balls, whatever you got, man. Bring it. He'll sign it and communicate, chop it up with you and have some good food, man. Bridges Scoreboard got some great food, man.
Bridges is a good spot, man. Good spot.
Yeah, it's a good spot, man. Pinky's been there. There's been a couple guys been in there. Coop's been there. They love the food. I love the food, and you're going to be able to taste it.
So you get safe food. I'll be there, man.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get into this a little bit more comments, and then we'll get back to our content because I want to get into some other stuff too.
Yeah, guys, keep coming with these comments. Like, we want to be your voice. We're just like you said, meatheads. We want to get your opinions out there.
Yeah. Joseph Gateman said that he said he was going to build through the draft. He means Poles said he's going to build through the draft. Yeah. I believe that. At the same point in time, we need to remember that when he goes out and he goes and gets a Keenan Allen that's 32 years old now in April, I believe. Which is still, I think Pinky was saying last night on our breaking, got about 1,800, almost 2,000 views in 24 hours, one of the fastest. We didn't have Chicago sports celebrity on the podcast. Pinky was saying, I believe that it's a big thing. So he's doing well. But you've got to be able to. What did he say? You got to be able to train up the guys that you're drafting. You can't just have a bunch of rookies in the building that don't have a role model, that doesn't have
mentors.
Yeah. You got to have somebody in there. So it's not just going to build. When you build through the draft, you're not going to have 50 some odd people and everybody's going to be drafted and all that. It doesn't work like that. You got to have some guys in the building that are going to be captains, that are going to be showing, riding the ship, all that, Dano?
Yep. So just like anything in life, you need mentors to level up.
Yeah. Said Poles is doing his job making this team better. I agree with that. Oh gosh, hold on. Let me goes to Judah. Let me look at this before I read it, man. You bit me last time.
Fool you twice.
Yeah, Judah, I can't, man. Come on, man. Team Badgett. Come on, man. Listen, Badgett was a good backup, dog. He's a good backup. At some point, he might level up into being a starting quarterback, but we're not going to go ride with these two badass receivers and Cole Kmet. We're not tying ourselves to that. I mean, great player, great guy. He came in, he filled in his position. He did well while Fields, the starter was gone. But no, man, I can't.
Hey, what's been the most common theme in for quarterbacks in Chicago? The second stringer is always the most popular guy on the team. Hopefully, after this draft, that won't be the case for a while.
Yeah. Grizz says, by the way, I didn't make it to college, but played at Mount Carmel
Oh,
in
nice.
class of 97. Okay, dude. All right.
Year
Shout
behind
out
me.
to you, man. Huh?
Year behind me.
Oh, you're behind.
96.
Yeah. And then I graduated in 95.
Mm,
Uh, Grizz, we are MC. Okay. All right.
Mount
Yeah.
Carmel. Yeah.
Mount Carmel. There you go. Got to run. Justin Sec. Ah, come on, Ghost of Judah. Dude. Killing me, bro. Killing me. 125 in the chat. Let's go.
Yo,
Get those likes up. Hit that subscribe button. Come on,
it's a
let's go,
Saturday
guys.
night, man.
I don't like he is a Green Bay fan. Yes, Casey, you know what? That is something to look at. I could see that would be an important thing to look at, but as a professional, it don't matter. It does not matter. I'm here to tell you right now, it does not matter, man. Once you suit up, that's what you're all about. That's what you rep. It's your job. You're a professional. You're not going to go out and blow a game against
Yeah,
Green Bay every time just because you're a Green Bay fan, man. I mean,
you ain't
I'm a
gonna get
big
paid. You ain't
football.
gonna get paid doing that. Tell you that
No,
much
you
right
ain't gonna
now.
get paid doing that, and you're gonna get ran out of town, especially if we know that Green Bay owns us and they have a huge winning streak against us, and that is basically our Super Bowl until we actually get to the Super Bowl. So that does not, if anything, the
Maybe
guy
one of
like,
these years we'll win one of those Super Bowls.
yeah, if anything, the guy, I mean, listen, people are they gonna stop listening to what's that little Wayne because he's a pack? No, come on, man. So he just sees winners. I mean, I can definitely get behind people that pick the Packers as a team. If you're not local, if you're not a Bear fan, I can totally get behind and see why people would pick the Packers. They know how to draft. I just heard this on Chicago Bears Central, and there's probably other podcasts that are saying this. They know how to draft. They know how to build out of the free agency. They draft well. They play well. They win. They execute. They know how to play football, man. It stinks. I mean, but our destiny is in our own hands, and the only way to fight back is by win. So
Right.
until then, we ain't got anything to complain about. So, like I said, that guy, at least he's looking at a verifiable quarterback in Rodgers and seeing that is a talented guy. You know, I would be a little concerned if he picked a quarterback that was subpar. You know, maybe he's like Dak Prescott's the best quarterback ever. You know, I'm like, come on, really, dude, here or Mighty Mouse from Arizona. Cardinals. You know, like,
Prescott might not be playing this year.
huh?
Prescott might
Oh
not be
yeah.
playing this year.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Let's see. How do you pronounce that? I'm so sorry, brother. I hope.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm just gonna call you Taz. I'm sorry. Forgive my simple mind, but I want to read what you have, and you're a YouTuber. We appreciate all our YouTube warriors out there. Caleb mentioned the Bears fan at the golf tournament, the 17th hole. He heard people cheering him. Then he said they must be Bears fans. Okay, cool. So I think what he's saying is that Caleb was at a golf tournament, and he heard their Bears fans and cheering for him. So he said they must be Bears fans.
That's cool.
EV Warrior, the Ghost of Judah, you coming back on tonight? Grizz, I'm sorry, blame my dad serving in the Marines, but it's hard to root for a nail painting skirt wear. Oh my gosh. See, here's the deal. Here's the deal. Shots fired. And that's okay because we could take it. Everybody could take it here. But if you're gonna be heavy-handed on one side, expect for the other side to get that too. So
Yeah, I didn't hear that. I hear this about Rodman.
Dennis Rodman?
Yeah,
Well, Rodman made a name for himself, and he was one of
yeah,
the tough guys before he started all the crazy. So,
that's
I,
true.
crazy's crazy. I mean, you do what you do. I understand what he's saying, and I get the whole, rough exterior. It's not one of my favorite attributes that the kid's got. It's throwing the football. So, hopefully, I mean, if he comes out and he paints his fingernails and it gives a middle finger to the Packers on his fingernails and he goes and torches them for 20, 30 points, I think we can overlook that. And let's not be surprised if some of you go out there and paint him up too,
Hey, I don't care if the kid paints his toenails and bedazzles them. If he's throwing
bedazzles
right?
or skinny jeans.
Just throw touchdowns and win games,
Yeah. I mean, we're in the 2020s, man. Like in the 80s, if we would have saw that, we'd have been like, what? But a little different now, unless they were like Cure fans or something,
Yeah.
But
there you go.
Yeah, EV Warrior says the only thing that he cares about is his play on the field. And like we said, we don't even know if this guy Caleb's going to get drafted. Hey, trade back at this point. Trade back to 2, get Daniels, and get a hole. Who cares?
Right.
All we know is that it's over with the whole bickering and fighting over who's going to be number 1. We know who's coming in the building, and we don't know who's coming in the building, but we know who left the building and that there's going to be somebody entering the building. So there's that's not going to be there. And I tell you what, man, God forbid that both of these boys were in the same building at the same time. We've only been dealing this for like 1 2 months. It feels like 2 years. Could you imagine if we did a whole season with both of those guys on the same team? I mean, you're potentially going to be looking like, when they're Taylor Swift's up there at the Kansas City game and they keep, instead of keeping the eye on the football, they look at Taylor and she's just up there going like this, and you're like, okay, whatever, and then that's what they would be doing to poor Justin Fields or Caleb, seeing if he's painting his fingernails on the bench, or whatever. And then they walk past each other and like, they're not even talking to each other. I heard that when they had lunch earlier that Caleb made fun that Justin was eating vegan stuff. I mean, it's crazy, I paint my fingernails, but you're a vegan, all this crazy, Like I could just see it, man, just all freaking season.
It would be unwatchable.
Yeah. Guarantee Hard Knocks would be there. Dude,
100%.
Happen.
100%.
But Brian says never, Caleb. Hey, respect you. Respect your stance on that. Woodstock Nation, Poles is a real moron genius. What the heck? Real moron genius. I must be a moron because I don't understand. A moron genius. He has no respect for players. I bet Bears players all feel. Hold on a second. Hold the phone. No. Look where he sent freaking what's his name from Pittsburgh, the receiver.
Oh, Claypool.
He sent him to Miami. Got a chance to win there. Look at where he sent Robert Quinn to the Eagles. I think they were even in the Super Bowl there.
Right.
All these guys that he sends, look at Roquan Smith, Baltimore Ravens, chance to win there. He talks to these guys. He asks them where he would like their landing spot to be before he lands them.
He doesn't have to do that either. He don't have to do that.
No. And out of all those teams that you looked that needed a quarterback, I'm pretty sure that the Steelers, with Mike Tomlin in tow, and the fact that Russell is descending, not ascending, he's going to learn something over there. He's going to learn something over there from Mike Tomlin. He's going to learn something there from, Russell Wilson and whoever else is there to boot.
You talk about the Packers earlier. I mean, the Steelers are probably one of the top 3 organizations in all of football. I mean,
how many games did they win last year with their 2 freaking they won at least 10 games, if not.
Yeah, what Tomlin's like never gone below 500 or something like that. I think
unbelievable.
Any player would love to be going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, Grizz says
he'll probably be starting there next year.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see how his play on the field turns out. Yeah,
I'm sorry, I mean 25. I misspoke.
25.
Yeah,
for sure. Next year, first overall pick and a new GM. Ooh, ouch, that's rough. better be Stroud-like. Yeah, but and quite honestly, you could look at the other way too. I mean, maybe you could be a Brock Purdy-esque, You
Yeah.
don't have to be a first-round draft pick. It shows there's guys out there like Brock Purdy that can freaking now he's in a better situation, I think potentially just a little bit. Now the Niners still have the upper hand, but make no mistake about it. The arrow's pointing north. Our team is starting to look a lot better on all the fronts. Running backs are
Yeah.
well diversified. Receivers, we don't just have one target anymore. We got two that can break the man and the zone down. Tight ends. You got two tight ends. Some people think that the Chargers tight end that we picked up, Everett, is potentially starting worth material. But make no mistake about it. Cole Kmet has to go out for a couple weeks, whatever. He can definitely right the ship and be there for him, Dano. You look at the defense. We've got a defense stack, D-backs that can switch in and out, linebackers. I mean, we just got to build up our trenches, and we're heading in the right direction for sure.
Name me a better situation that a number one overall pick has ever came into as a quarterback. A better
Now, I will tell you this. I will tell you this, brother, only because I didn't know about the team. And if anybody really knew about the team and they're not an AFC South fan, you're a damn liar, because there's no way we knew that what the hell Houston had in the building when they ended up going playoffs. Now, make no mistake about it, too. It does help that they're in a weak division. Well, outside of Jacksonville, but they kind of teetered back and forth. But they have a really good team there, and they'll figure it out. But outside of that, you look at the freaking Colts. I mean, the Colts are a mess. You know what I mean? So Houston, they just we'll see what happens this year. I think they got Stroud's number. It's going to be harder on him. It's not going to be as easy. He might have that sophomore slump setback year, but potentially I don't know if he's going to do as good as he did this year. People are going to definitely be circling those freaking, and they had a weaker schedule. Make no mistake about that too. And now people are going to be circling their calendars for Houston, bro.
Gonna have a year of tape on them, so that
right. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot to factor in there. Roski Bear, the ghost of Judah. Oh gosh. All right. I will be wearing a sweat jersey. Okay, Grizz says that.
Not a bad choice.
Yeah. They changed the game in favor of offenses. That's why the quarterback wins Super Bowls now. Yeah, I could see that. Although when you do falter as a quarterback, you better have something else behind it, right, Dano? And that's a run game and a good defense. It takes all four phases. I mean, look at it this way. You go back and you look at that Super Bowl, that messed up punt. I mean, San Fran, Kansas City, you look at that, it was a lot closer than we thought, so. Yep. What's this? Yaza says Cedric fumbled in the Super Bowl, got popped by Bob Sanders. Bob Sanders was a little freaking spark plug, man. I love me some Bob Sanders. That guy, they were like 32nd in the NFL without Bob Sanders on run defense. Once he comes in, they're top 16. It's like unbelievable. It's crazy how good one person can be that spark plug on a defense. We saw it with Sweat.
Yeah, he's a prototype safety, that's for sure.
What's that, brother?
Prototype safety.
Yeah. The Sweat jersey or Alt jersey, hopefully. I would like to get some Joe Alt, I'm definitely wanting some Joe Alt, man. We both are.
I'd love that. Sure.
I mean, who's going to tell us right now that if you go out and get yourself a top 20 offensive lineman, that's the wrong thing to do? I think as right now, when you look at Justin Fields, and he had potentially 130 sacks in less than 3 years because he never finished the season. He was never healthy each of those 3 years that he was here in Chicago. Rightfully so, with that offensive line was atrocious. There was other deciding factors, horrible play calling, all this and that. But make no mistake about it, he did not have that talent around him to block. So we go out and get that, shore up that offensive line. First thing that Dan Campbell did, the one that bites the kneecaps over there in Detroit, is they go out and they go get their
Yeah.
the right guard for on the defensive line. So Sewell, they went out and
Oh,
got
yeah.
Sewell. So yeah, that's what you got to do, man. You got to shore up build up the trenches, shore up that offensive line, and I wouldn't have no problem with that at all. I know we do want a receiver, but I think potentially, Dano, since we went out and got that receiver in Keenan Allen, that we don't really have to stretch or reach
Right.
so early and put so much pressure on ourselves. I think maybe that window is open a little bit where we could potentially go out and get a star-studded receiver in 2 to 3 years. If not for sure this year, next year for sure. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be mad if we went out and still got a receiver. I'm just saying,
Yeah, I think
there's
that
definitely what's that?
I think that Keenan Allen signing kind of buys us a little bit more time to
Yeah.
get another receiver. Like you said, I'd still would love to get another one, but I think we could possibly fill other holes.
Yeah, Poles is a real masterpiece. I bet every player on the Bears is wondering what the hell right now. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure if he's pro Poles or not with that question. I'm not sure what he's saying there, but Nick Foles wasn't the best QB. Won a Super Bowl. That's what he's going back to. We're trying to get caught up with this, folks. You guys got a lot of comments today.
It's awesome.
Shout out to Cheryl again. 6 minutes left. Bulls 103, Wizards 107. Chris Foster, Caleb is garbage. Okay, respect you. 3-14 next year. Wow. Let's go ahead. Let's hope we're rooting for something a little better for our Bears. Even if the quarterback play is trash, let's hope that Poles gets on their butt and Fluss tightens it up and has a backup plan if we start to falter and run the ball more, better defense, special teams, whatever. The team is great, a lot better than just the QB itself. You know what I mean? So let's root for the whole team, and not hope that a guy does that bad. But
Listen, man, I'll wear a Green Bay Packers jersey on this show next year if they go 3-14. Okay.
There's no way we're going 3-14.
No.
There's no way. No. Heck, we had 2 wins with a freaking second Division II Beijing. That was 2 wins with Beijing, dude. And he didn't even know freaking what an NFL football looked like until this year,
And that was with Getsy and no Keenan Allen.
Bulls for the W. Bear down. Thanks for the update, Cheryl. That's awesome. Thank you guys for giving Cheryl the love and support, man. She's in there always posting what's for dinner, the birthdays, all that stuff, covering one night she was covering the Bulls, the Blackhawks, the Cubs, the Sox while we were talking Bears content. And not that she's not against covering us covering the Bears, but it's been very Bears centric for a little while, rightfully so, because none of the other teams are really hitting a lick. I will say there's been a little uptick with the Bulls, but they're still pulling on our heartstrings. That one minute they're knocking out a good team and they're losing to a bad team. So
yeah, the bipolar Bulls.
It's been a very busy season too for the Bears. I mean, the NFL basically they've marketed it really well. It's basically like year-round coverage.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's see here. Justin had no help, only more. Yeah, they didn't give him pieces for sure. They started to, but there was enough time on the clock. Like I said, perfect storm. If we didn't have this first pick overall 2 years in a row, now it's like, how many times are we going to get this opportunity? It might be a while. They obviously see there's potential for us to ascend and get, into that 8, 9, 10 potential playoff run to where now we're on the back end of the draft instead of the front end of the draft. And then all the quarterbacks are taken if year 4, where you have all these weapons now for Fields or whoever it is now.
I mean, the first year
now you missed your window. Now you've missed your window,
I mean, in the first year, he had to just completely tear it down. I mean, really, this will be the second year of the actual rebuild?
Yeah.
So,
And and then that's the thing about being drafted in the top 10 as a quarterback. You're going to go to the worst 10 in the NFL, and that is how you get on a team that's actually going to play you, that's going to start you. If you get into that potential, guy in the fifth round that luckily went to the Niners, and now guy gets injured, now he's starting. That was a freak accident. It doesn't happen like that. But you were in the top 10. That you were going to the worst 10 in the NFL. That team is not ready. That team is not going to be ready for you. There is, and it's not like where you sit for a couple years and you've got a good quarterback. You got a good quarterback. You're not going to be the worst 10 in the NFL. You're going to be somewhere in the middle, somewhere in the neighborhood of being, average. Like you go look at, Minnesota Vikings, with Kirk Cousins, they were average. They had enough wins to be an average team, whatever. So you're not going to get in there where we're in there. We're number 9 with our record this year, and if we would have tanked and we would have not tried to win, we could have definitely been top 5. And then, like I said, we had that Carolina pick. So, who was more intelligent, the writing's on, we're still wondering about that. Who was more intelligent or who was more dumb, or was a little bit of both and some luck too, with the Carolina freaking team, So, and I think a lot of teams too are not trying to be, Dano, I think that a lot of teams are not trying to be the next GM that did Carolina and gave a haul and DJ Moore and all that crazy, it's
100%.
It was a lot,
100%.
And to give a haul for just going to one spot. I mean,
yeah, right.
We moved
especially with the quarterbacks in this draft, the quality of them.
Yeah. What's Grizz saying? It was tough to identify with Rodman too. Like I said, I was happy he was on my team, but just not my favorite player on the team. He was one of my favorite players on the team. That guy was tough. He knew, like, if he stood on the left side of the ball, on the left side of the rim, that whatever percentage of the time that the ball, he watched it and he studied it and he read books and stuff. He studied the art of rebounding, and he knew that if he stood here, that he had a better chance of getting that rebound. I mean, he just was dialed in for rebounds. I love the guy, man. He's great.
Yeah, I love him.
Yeah. At some point, he did so well for us, and he helped out Jordan and the rest of our team that it didn't matter, man. I didn't care. He was doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and Carmen Electra, and
But boy, did we hate him when he was on Detroit, though, didn't we?
Oh, dude, he was rough. But Bears should have never passed on the best prospect in this draft, MHJ. He is definitely, and you know what? For all intents and purposes, they still haven't. Who knows what's going to happen, But we'll see. As of right now, it doesn't look that good, but because you got to have a quarterback. So number one is
a quarterback to throw to those guys. So
yeah, exactly, to throw to those guys, exactly. Let's see what's Cam C say. Rodman was banging the hottest chicks in the yeah. Okay. Yep. The scrolls. Chris Foster, please change your profile pic. You're not a Bears fan. Whoa! Shots fired.
Oh.
Rodman had
a Rodman
heart to win. Caleb don't have a heart. I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that's accurate. I've heard that guy had so much heart he actually cried on the field when they first the game. You know what I mean? So I've been a Bears fan for 52 years. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for being a Bears fan for 52 years. That's awesome. Sour grapes for a quarterback with the worst fourth quarterback numbers. Ooch. Okay. Correct, boys. Depth is critical. Caleb doesn't even want to play for the Bears. That's not true. He said he did. That's inaccurate. DJ Moore isn't very happy right now, I'm sure. I know I'm not. You know what, though, Brian? There's definitely some people in the building that are not happy, but he's a professional. He'll get over it. Look at how many bootylicious teams, quarterbacks he played for over there in Carolina. At whatever wagon he hitched to, he was always getting the ball. So he'll get the ball from whoever it's from. They're going to be wearing a Bears uniform. He's a professional. They'll get over it. They always do. And you know what? Here's the deal. how would it sound if you went up there in the presser and you spoke and said you want the guy that's not in the building, a rookie it's not even a rookie, a potential draft quarterback that is going to maybe go to your team or not, you don't know. How would you like to hitch your wagon to that and not the veteran that's in the building that's grown and thrown the ball to you with, and now all of a sudden your GM goes, he zigs when you thought he was going to zag or vice versa. It just doesn't.
Awkward.
It's awkward. You don't do that. You don't do that. It's none of those guys are going to do that. They always, even when you talk to the old vets, they all say,
yeah,
Justin Fields. They all say who was ever already there. That's the
union brother.
Professional thing to do. It's your union brother. You're damn right. So, but at the end of the day, union or not, they still got a job to do, and they'll figure it out. They'll man up. So, and I'm hoping our fans can do the same. I'm not a Bears fan, but trading Fields was a bad move, Caleb. If you're not a Bears fan, what the hell are you doing in our group? What are you bored? I mean, hey, I'm glad you're here. That's
yeah,
cool.
we're glad you're here.
Hey, come on, hang out. Let's see, listen to all our 11 herbs and spices,
Unless you're trying to get intel.
Yeah.
Might be a Packer fan.
I heard on Chicago Sports Podcast, they might be looking at a quarterback that paints his fingernails, and they're really unhappy about it. So under center, make sure you make fun of that quarterback, balls hiked, and say, hey, you got your fingernails painted? Whatever. Okay, Brian DeLoey, should have traded the pick. Okay, fair enough. Houston been running that division the last 13, 14 years. They were winning it when they had Matt Schaub. I don't know about that, dude. I can't. The Colts had a freaking badass run, man. They were freaking torching people for 17, 16 years. Peyton was in the NFL. Yeah, no, I'm raising the bullshit flag all the way up on this one, bro. I love you, but I'm going to have to disagree here. Because here, even after that, I know Luck had some luck. I knew he won some ball games, quite a few ball games. And now our window is really closing because the consummate professional and Peyton Manning, of those 18 years that he was in the NFL, I think only – was it 2 with Denver, and so the rest was with the rest was with Indy. So 16 years he freaking
they dominated that division.
Dude, come on, Cam.
Well, we were born at night, pal, but not last night.
Yeah. Yada says DJ is going to intentionally drop passes now. Not that was a good one, bro. That was a good one.
I like this guy.
Yeah, he's still got another contract coming up, and he wants to win. He didn't go from one burial ground to the next. Hope Pittsburgh wins the Super Bowl. Okay, all right, whatever. The Scrolls, unlucky. Yeah, we're really gonna regret getting rid of a QB who can't beat zones or attack the middle. Ooh. Rough crowd. Getting my number 1 Caleb jersey.
There we go.
Jay Grizz is okay with 1 Super Bowl. We want a dynasty. Yeah, I think that's what's really going on, folks. When you look at what's going on in the building, you look at how they are potentially getting a little bit better at each position. So if a guy does go down and you need a breather, a couple weeks off, whatever, or God forbid a guy's out for the season, DJ Moore pulls up. He's out 6 weeks, whatever. Something happens. Now you got Keenan, vice versa. Maybe they get a rookie that comes in at toe, and now he can be in there, whatever, or all 3 of them stay healthy all season long. I mean, it's a win-win situation. They are getting better at every position possible. They've even brought in some offensive linemen, Dano. I mean, what are your thoughts right now on offensive line? Doesn't they look a lot better at offensive line, Dano?
Oh, yeah. I mean, just the depth they got. They've got professional offensive linemen in there that should be able to just come right in if there's an injury to one of our starters.
Yeah. You've got to have backup, right, Dano?
Yeah.
Yada says Nick Foles was under Ryan Pace, not Ryan Poles.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah. I don't think anyone said that they weren't. James Childress, my coworkers give me all sorts of flack for being a Chicago fan, but I don't let it get to me. Yeah, Childress is out. I don't even think he's local, and they give him a bunch of crap, and he's definitely diehard for sure.
Tell him to come talk to us.
Yeah, you got a home with us, brother. He's been in the building for a minute. Gerald, final Bulls 127, Wizards 98. Yes.
Right.
What is that? Two out, Dano from 500? Two or one away from 500?
I think two.
Yeah. So we're getting there. We're pulling up. Scrolls. When the Bears look like Charmin tissues, you will. All right.
What are you, Yoda? What are you, Yoda?
Yoda. Yeah, baby Yoda. Yeah. KMC, what can they say? The Sox, Cubs, and Blackhawks have all won titles in the last 20 years. We're basically, folks, we're just getting through the mailbag because a lot of times when we got the celebrities coming in from week to week, we don't have time to do that because we're trying to get all the content from them. Nobody wants to listen to us. Nobody wants to talk to us. They all want to talk to the celebrity that we bring in. So we don't get a chance to get into the mailbag and get into this. We know that this is real. We know it's important. We hear you about Justin Fields. It's important to us. It's important to you. It's important to you. It's important to us. So we're breaking it down. We're getting through this, and then we'll get into a little bit more content. We're going to talk a little bit more about that Jake Martin and a couple other guys that we begin into, and also some things I've heard about where we'll potentially look at through free agency and how this is shaping up with our upcoming draft. Some things that I've heard through some podcasts and some guys I talked to. Very interesting stuff. So Yada, Poles fleeced the Panthers. They'll never trade with the Bears again. Yeah, that's probably right. If they do, the owner will be throwing beers on us like he did his own fans. Crazy guy. Players stick up for players, but they're pros. They'll play with whoever suits up. Exactly,
yep, 100%.
Exactly. If that was not the case, they would not be riding with this free agency as long as it's have.
Right.
They would have never even had the free agency because basically what it used to be, like, I really think free agency is just like a special name because basically what used to happen to you was when you're out of contract, they either re-signed you or you got released and you just be sitting there waiting for – that's what free agency is, So they just got a fancy freaking sticker and a name on it now, DJ may not be happy, but as a 40-plus year Bear fan, I'm in heaven.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Peyton was in Denver at this time. Okay. All right. So then that was when we said, Andrew Luck was wrecking shop. I mean, right. Andrew was there for a minute, man. He was doing good. Yep. Not gonna lie. Even outside of Andrew, they had some good luck outside of Andrew. Because I watch that Pat McAfee show and he keeps me updated on what they're doing, man. James Childress, I think the Bears will torch the division, but that's just my thoughts and opinions. Bear down. Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think the way it stands right now, Dano, and I agree with James in this. I think the Vikings are like dead last. Okay. Yeah. I think the Packers, they look really good, as you can see in free agency, and they made, they were right there in the thick of things, playoffs, all of that. They look really good. But now, like you said earlier about the quarterback over there in Houston, everybody's got tape on Love. I think with all of our additions and the way we've been running things, one extra year continuity, I think we've got the edge on Green Bay. And Detroit, I think out of all the teams, they've probably got the second to worst, if not the worst, defense in the NFC North. So
don't discount our D, man.
No,
they may be top 5 next year.
And we went up and picked up Williams, the defensive whisperer from Buffalo, and I think he's going to do some amazing things, especially with that D line. I've heard
those young guys. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see, CamC. Go look back from 2010. Houston won that division. Like, is this guy a freaking Houston fan or what? We still doing this? Shep 23. Justin Fields is an elite NFL quarterback. Yada, the Bears' new OC better not screw this up with this of Caleb's. Okay. Well, I think with the new OC, what you'll learn from the new OC is that what he did for other QBs that struggled. Russell Wilson single-handedly picked this guy up. Gino, he reinvented his career. He emerged. He did really good. He spoke his love language. Whatever it is, you could have a tutor, a mentor, somebody teaching you all this sort of stuff, but unless you get it, unless you say, I'm not letting you leave this room until we get this. If they get it, now you advance, now you excel, and you move forward. But some guys, they won't do that with you. It just depends. And for whatever reason, this Waldron is really good at this. So we'll see. Maybe it's just his personality or something, Dano. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Waldron was actually really highly thought of, really highly sought after. And the thing about him also is he comes from the McVay tree, which is, the Shanahan McVay tree, which is what everybody's trying to run now. And he plays to the strength of the player rather than trying to have the players fit his system.
Yeah. Well, and then that's what the thing that they were talking about on that press conference, weren't they, Dano? They were saying the ability to adapt, overcome, and change in and out of things. So that's
Right.
what the Bears were looking at, and that's where just being able to, like a chameleon, change in and out of your ideas and not be so rigid and stick and say, "This is what we have to do. This is what we're doing." And I think
The
that's
exact
where they.
opposite of Betsy.
Yeah, I think that's where they ruined Fields. I mean, that was part of the
Yeah.
thing. They did not do Fields any favors, and I think that when he goes to the Steelers, they will make it work. I mean, look what they
Yeah.
did to the quarterbacks over there. They made them look a lot better than I ever thought they would. I think Kenny Pickett, I think that whole signing, he was just from Pittsburgh, and it was just kind of like this notoriety thing. We'll get the local kid in here and we figure things out. I don't know. I thought it was silly, but this year he didn't look too bad, man. 6 touchdowns, four interceptions. I mean, it's not huge, but it's not horrible, and he threw some good darts and some good ball. And obviously there's a place for him in Philly. So Daniel Reed said, I'm wondering what Ryan Poles will be doing after football, especially after this move. Oh boy. I think he'll still be GMing for the Bears. I really do. I really think he will be. Facebook user, I'm a Bears fan first before a player fan. Now these teams is ready to win, so I don't want to hear any excuses why we don't make playoffs and beat the Packers. Yeah, I agree. Kenny Wilson said, enjoy Caleb. Okay. Daniel Reed, remember what Spencer Rattler said after leaving Oklahoma? I learned more about defense in one spring practice than I did with Lincoln Riley at Oklahoma for 2 years. Huh. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, and he was a little butthurt too, because literally he was the guy that was basically the clear runner to win the Heisman, and then he gets beat out by Caleb, and then Lincoln says, hey, you can stay here in Oklahoma and continue to be a starter, or you can go with me. I'd like you to go with me. And he says, well, my allegiance, is to you. You gave me that chance. And he goes, well, I didn't give it to you. You earned it. And he says, okay, well, like I said, either you could stay here or go. He goes, I'm going with you, coach. So to me, that shows loyalty. But I could see where Spencer would, flip the script on that and be a little butthurt, So, but make no mistake about it, it was a learning thing for Spencer. It was a learning thing for everybody. I think everybody grew out of it, to be honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
Spencer he hasn't arrived yet. He's got a lot of work to do. He can be good, but he's definitely rough for sure. I think a lot of people just fell in love with the kid straight up because he was on that Netflix special,
Right.
Be honest. If he wasn't on that Netflix, y'all wouldn't know who he was.
Yeah, right.
Because I don't know a whole lot of people that watch Oklahoma ball, to be honest. So,
Right.
KMC, oh yeah, I forgot about Luck. What the hell? What are we doing here? How do you forget about Luck? Woodstock Nation, yeah, Daniel Reed, I'm with you. Poles will be gone by the end of the year. Whoa, Fields did not
Again,
get,
I'll wear a Packers jersey if that happens too.
yeah, exactly. Fields did not get started out the wide. Okay, Cheryl. Wrong way. You got to work with any player first. Yeah, yeah. You definitely have to work with the player, and you have to
Yeah.
spend time on them. You know, they need food, they need light, they need water, and you need to definitely talk to them. Rattler has the of sour grapes parfait. Yeah, Poles Poles didn't fleece the Panthers. They fleeced themselves by taking the bantam weight from Bama. Hey,
Yeah.
great participation, guys. Thanks for all the chats. We had over 130 in the chat. We just set a record today. That was great, man. Sorry for getting through all that, but we had to. So, any thoughts, Dano, about any of that we read off?
Oh man, I just great comments. I love that they're able to get their voice out there today. You know.
Yeah, I'm glad they got their voice out there today too. I thought that was really cool. Yeah, your thoughts on the offensive line and where we're going, where you see where we still need a little bit of help. What do you think?
Well, the obvious one would be center. I still think, even though what didn't they? We got Bates, and then didn't they sign? Who else was that? Did they sign? Signed another center. So I think they may start with Bates at center. I know Poles has had his eye on him for a while. We got Darnell Wright. He's good. Who's the guard? Jenkins. If he could stay healthy, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Left tackle. I have a feeling they're going to stay with Jones at least for one more year. I think they think he's good enough, but I would love another left tackle. And then just this free agency, I love the depth that they've acquired this year. So yeah, it could be upgraded, but I think taking steps in the right direction. That's for sure.
Yeah, I do too, and I think that they're addressing it well. I think there's definitely going to be we potentially got a starter in center, which was a huge need, a big need. I mean, the fact that you couldn't even have somebody to hike the ball off. I remember just he put on like a rocket pack and he freaking flew up
Yeah,
to the moon and he got that ball. Anybody else except for Mike Glennon probably would have hit him in his freaking giraffe neck, you know. It would have went over their heads, man. But he
caught
actually ended
it.
up scrambling and getting like 2 or 3 yards forward because he went up there and freaking got that ball, you know. But the
Yeah,
fact that you go in there as a GM and assistant GM, both playing offensive line in the NFL, and you don't have yourself a center that is going to hike the ball to your underage young freaking quarterback who's already got troubles of his own and add more troubles to his growth and development, that is a huge injustice.
yeah,
I mean, that is not good. So this year they wrote they wrote their wrongs and they went out and picked up that guy started, I think, every snap for the Rams last
yeah,
year.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, let's face it. You would know better than me, but the center is like the quarterback of the offensive line. You know, so I mean, not that's a huge need. So hopefully we got it. We finally got it right.
Yeah, you know what else I like? I like the fact that they got people to go out there to back up Tevin Jenkins and
Yeah,
Nate. Now, Tevin Jenkins and Nate, they could go ahead and start. We haven't really seen a lot with Nate with his injury and then his loss in the family where he was gone for a minute. But again, too, you need somebody in there that is going to be equally or better for when you're gone. So I
yeah,
think that they're addressing those things. I think they're good. I think they're doing their due diligence. Again, too, if you see your right tackle go down and you got your left tackle that go down, you know, what are we doing like at those? Or do we have good backup? Or is this guy, if he's gone, like, or is our team going to struggle heavily? And I think that's what they're starting to realize is that although our offensive line wasn't good at all last year, it could actually be worse if the guys that were doing good and showing up
right.
went down, you know. So I think they're doing good, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think nobody gets excited. Most people don't get excited about offensive lineman signings, but we made quite a few of them this off season. So like you said, they're really addressing the offensive line, which I'm happy about.
Yeah, I mean, you got to protect the first thing you go out and you get yourself a really nice vehicle or you get yourself a real nice house is you go buy that insurance to protect you from mayhem.
Yeah,
And
right.
that's basically what your offensive line is. And now you're starting to see that those offensive linemen are, at a premium and they are important to go get. They used to not really pay attention to us big dummies down in the middle, but now they're like, shit, man, we got to because we're paying through the freaking neck on these quarterbacks. They're 30,
Yeah.
40, 50 million contracts. I mean, look at the fifth-year option from Justin Fields was going to be almost 30 mil, and that's a lot of money for just 1 year, with a guy. So you got to protect those investments, man. It's very important, and it's also important for your running game and everything, Dano.
Yeah, I think if you look at most of the good teams, is they build from the line inside out. So
Yeah.
um, I'm just glad we're addressing it.
Yeah, James Childers says I may live in northeast Montana. That's where it is, Montana. He's actually got a picture of his Facebook of I think it's like a John Deere tractor or something. So I was like, yeah, he's way.
Right.
But he says, but I'm a Northwest Indiana native from Michigan City. All
Nice.
right, man. Yes, you got some roots around here, man, from the region.
Yeah.
Yada says if Joe Walt or Fashuno is there at 9, you better run and pick them up, Roger, and give them to Roger Goodell. Yeah, I mean, I heard that while they were out there for the pro day for Oregon, they went over to Oregon State, over to Corvallis, and checked out that offensive lineman there too. So I wouldn't be surprised, like you said, that's a good point that they go ahead and pick somebody up at the 9th spot, offensive lineman, definitely for sure. You could still probably pick up a good edge rusher in the 3rd, right, Dano? So
Yeah, I think you could
offensive line,
possibly,
then defensive line.
you could possibly have your pick of the best the edge rushers in the draft at 9. So I wouldn't hate
Yeah.
that. And I think real quick about that Fashuno, I believe that he played high school ball with Caleb Williams.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I remember a guy that played ball in Oklahoma. They just interviewed a couple days ago, and they asked, "What would it? Would you want to play with Caleb again?" And they played in Oklahoma, and he said, "Absolutely, man. The guy's professional. He's a great teammate. He led us, and I loved it." And he said he came back. They were losing second half. They were down like 20 points, and he ended up freaking putting 50 up on him, big 50 burger, and ended up winning that game. And that's when Spencer got, bounced and never looked back, man. It was pretty cool. It was a great year over in Oklahoma, man. It's just learning the Riley system, man. Riley is remarkable talent. If you go look at all of the quarterbacks that he's groomed and brought up, it's freaking phenomenal, man. Lincoln Riley, he's the real deal, man. I don't know how long he's going to be over in USC or if he will get a shot at the NFL if he wants.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We'll see. So Cheryl says, thanks for the updates. People need to remember they all have their own opinions and other opinions may not agree with yours. Hands down. Yeah. Class act, Cheryl. Great point. That's facts, man. We are not all cut from the same cloth in of our opinions, but we all have one opinion that's the same, and that's that orange and blue that's right behind me and in front of you, the Bears, and we're all Bears fans and Chicago fans. So that's a unity that we've got, and we've got 31 other teams out there that are dividing us from them, so we don't want to divide ourselves. Great point, Cheryl. Love it. Love you, babe.
And ultimately, I think we all just want them to make the right decision, whatever that is.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just make the right decision, make the right call. Yada. If no, Woodstock. The Bears need to build a physically dominant offensive line. We've been pathetic no matter who the QB was. Exactly.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Yep. I agree. Yeah, so we'll build that up, build the defensive line. Do you see anybody out there in the free agency right now that you'd like to go out and get on the cheap that may help us? I do know personally for me, defense, as far as a rusher goes, Sewell might actually fit the bill if he could bulk up a little bit. I know he had a tough go last year. He did show a little bit of production. He looked good. I saw some growth, but if Sewell could level up this year, that would be, spectacular for us. But just looking inside the building, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But is there anybody out there in free agency that kind of tickles your fancy,
Yeah, I'm thinking for an edge rusher, Clowney for a year,
Howdy.
year two. Yeah.
Hey, Michael, how you doing, brother?
What's up, Michael?
Hey, what's going on? What's going on, guys? I just got some
Got
free
Legacy
time, so
with
I
us,
just
the
decided
Phenom.
I'd stop by.
Hey, dude.
Oh
anytime.
yeah, man.
Glad to have
you
you.
stopped by, man. I know you're
Yeah,
very
no
busy
problem.
I know you're really busy with all your schoolwork and your obligations and stuff, but thanks for stopping in. We were just unpacking, and I don't know if you were following along with us on the show, but we were actually able to read the entire mailbag, everybody, all their comments and stuff. We talked
Awesome.
about field situation, the offensive line, who we've been picking up, kind of unpacking that. So just if you want, give us your thoughts really quick,
Yeah. So I guess I could start. I mean, I'll start with the big thing. I was actually in the middle of a fantasy baseball draft. So like my phone, I was on a call with my dad. We like run the same team. So I wasn't really using my phone. I was just using my computer, and I just decided to check my phone. Sure enough, like this happened last time with the Keenan Allen trade. I wasn't using my phone. I was calling my dad, and I was just like talking to him, and I checked my phone like, yo, holy shit, they just traded for Keenan Allen. Now this time I'm telling them like, holy shit, they just traded Fields. Like,
Were you the
it
one that
becomes-
told us about Fields? Were you the
I
one that
think
told us
so.
about-
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
probably.
you were. Yeah.
Mike's
Yeah,
always
so-
breaking the news for us.
Those Twitter notifications come in handy sometimes, right? Not all the time, but sometimes they do. Sometimes
Yeah.
they play their part in their notifications on my phone. But yeah, I think that was again. I think it was expected, at least for my part. I thought that was expected. I will say I didn't expect it this soon. I thought it was gonna be probably after next Thursday. That's what I kept saying was after next Thursday,
Yeah.
after they have him at Hallis Hall, after they meet him at his pro day. I thought they were gonna maybe pull a trigger, but I guess not. I was wrong. And they traded him now for at least what they could get. I will say I was underwhelmed with what they got. I thought like, especially my dad. I mean, he was like, what do we get? I'm like, I don't know yet. And then I finally found out, and I'm like, it's a 2025 6 that becomes a fourth, like conditional. And he's like, are you serious? That's it? Like, we got nothing else. I'm like, I guess not. But again, that's a huge, I think that's a big gamble on Poles' part because those conditional picks, you have to play 51% of the snaps, right? So basically, if you're quarterback, you have to be the starter. Like that's
Right.
the only way that really happens. That kind of goes back to the Rodgers deal we saw, where it was a second conditional to a first based on how much he played. Obviously, the Packers got screwed there, which I don't really care. They could get screwed. Who cares? In that type of deal, but yeah, it's a kind of a big gamble on Poles' part because the difference between a 6th and a 4th is pretty big.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to find too many big starters in the 6th. And the 4th, you could definitely find someone that can help impact your team. So that was kind of my reaction. I thought the return was a little weak, but I kind of thought this was an expected move overall.
I wonder if they could have if they would have waited till right before the second round or something, if maybe they could have got better compensation. But I mean, I'm just glad that they got what they could. I don't know.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is probably, again, Poles came out and said, again, this is from Poles himself. A lot of people are like, I don't care if it's not from Ryan Poles. This is from Ryan Poles. He said they have been shopping him for weeks now. So I guess this is what they have settled on. It's I think again, like I said, it's been a little lower than I think we expected, especially hearing guys like Rappaport and Schefter say, oh, they could maybe get a second for him, which I think that excited a lot of people. If they were to trade him. And
I think if we would have did that right away, boys, we would have been all right. But potentially, once you saw the market get set by Mac Jones, who was runner-up for his Rookie of the Year, same draft class, right? He was runner-up for Rookie of the Year. I mean, potentially now you already know where it's set. So he gets a 6th-round pick out of Jacksonville. But I do like the fact that what you were saying, Dano, is great, that if he plays 60-something% that it turns into a fourth rounder. So at least there's something like that. I was just disappointed that now we have to wait to get it out of next year. I was hoping that pick we could have got this year. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
because we need draft picks, but at the end of the day, I think if we weren't shopping or looking at Caleb and it was maybe Daniels or something, we could have already brought him in the building, talked to him, physical, whatever, how you doing, keep it moving, make a decision, and then go ahead and let Fields go ASAP before the, legal tampering goes, Michael, well, before that kicks off, and then go ahead and set the market and get what we can out of that trade right then and there. But now everybody's going through those quarterbacks. Their needs are starting to get met, and there's not a whole lot left there. So now you're a backup. Where do you go? How much is a backup worth as far as a draft pick goes, Michael? So now you're over here. Okay, well, let's send him off to a good team. Like we said earlier, Poles has always shown his due diligence in trying to set people up in the right, situations instead of a place to die. He always sends them to a good team where they have potentially a good time to flourish and win and stuff. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I get it 100%. And I think there's like kind of two sides to this, right? You could have looked at this as like he waited too long and got kind of screwed, or you can kind of look at this. I can kind of compare this to like what the White Sox did with Dylan Cease. They may have traded him at the deadline, and they waited, and then traded for him just like a few days ago for a compensation that they really liked, and they may not have gotten at the deadline. So they waited, and his value went up. Right. I think that's kind of what Poles may have been trying to do. And it's like, all right, maybe I can wait a little bit, see if someone will bite. And I just don't think anyone did. And he just kind of said, all right, no one's biting at this point. And I never really agreed with the bring in Caleb and keep Justin. No. I don't think that would have worked. And, I think the evidence is clear here based on the tweets we're seeing from the current players. Like a lot of them are upset. So you had your locker room leader, and if you bring in Caleb like that, he almost has no chance to really earn the locker room because they're all kind of on Justin's side at this point. Yeah, that's kind of like we're kind of seeing why that would not have worked. He would have had no chance to earn the locker room. So again, going kind of back to what Poles' trade philosophy was, I think he tried to wait it out and see if value would have gone up, and it just never did. And I think it kind of goes back to that Mac Jones trade. You saw he went for a 6-rounder, and I think you can kind of view
they're going Justin Herbert, bro.
I'm seeing that.
Herbert in the chat.
I'm seeing that. Yeah, I take that as a compliment. I'll take that as a compliment every day.
Yeah.
I think like a few weeks ago, I had like 5 of my friends say I look like Bedard too. So like I'm taking all of these as compliments.
There you go, bro. Take your W's.
I usually get Tom Cruise, but
that's a good one too. I can complain about Tom Cruise.
Masked Man, am I the only one who thinks this is an abysmal trade? I think that I think you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit at this point. Earlier, aside of getting released straight into the free agency pool like Russell Wilson, that this is a landing place where obviously it worked out. So, like we just finished saying earlier, obviously if Poles was able to move earlier, probably would have got a better, draft pick if he would have been able to set the market instead of letting the market set for him. So sometimes you win and sometimes you lose. You can't win every time, but, make no mistake about it. It's done. So Yada, the young man talking, looks like Justin Herbert. Why is Harbaugh getting rid of all your receivers?
Sadly, John Harbaugh doesn't believe in the forward pass, so that's probably why he's getting rid of all of his receivers. He needs to load up on running backs right now.
Yeah. Yada says the mayor called Poles and said, "End this before I lose my city." Yeah. No kidding. That's a good one.
Before the city burns down.
Yeah. Rich margin, Poles had to wait because Caleb wouldn't show his medicals. Yeah. And that's basically what we're all doing.
I think we all agree on that.
Yeah. Masked Man, also it's crazy because I think Justin ended up with one of the worst teams he could. He's not gonna learn anything under Mike Tomlin and Arthur Smith. I don't
I
think
don't
that's
think
true.
that's true.
I don't think that's true at all. And he's not going to be a starter over Russ. Again, there's a very strong possibility he could be a starter, honestly. Not right away. It might take some of the season. You never know. But we'll see. There's definitely a chance there for something. In a situation like this, you take the deal that's on the table, get what you get. What was spot on. Yeah. So what about everything else that's been going on? Is anything that's struck out at you, Michael, the offensive lineman that we've been getting, any of the deals that's came across, or what have you been seeing, man?
Yeah, so I could start with the offensive line. I forget his name already that we signed to center, but
Yeah,
he came from the Rams. That's a good
yeah.
signing. I think
Yeah.
think that's like kind of one of our going to be the most underrated signing of this whole free agency period. He's clearly an average center, and I like when people reach out to like Rams fans, like Bears fans did, and say like, "How good is this guy?" Because most likely the team will tell you, and a lot of times they'll just say this guy sucks, right? They'll just be like, "This guy's bad," and then you're like, "All right, great, we signed someone bad." No, a lot of Rams fans are actually like, if you take all 32 starting centers, smack them right in the middle. That's a
Coleman
clear-
Shelton.
Coleman Shelton, yeah.
Coleman Shelton.
That's a clear upgrade over what we had last year. If we can get an average center, even if it's just for a year, that's a clear upgrade over what we had, and it's a veteran center. I think that's great for Caleb Williams to have a veteran center. I'm going to assume they take Caleb Williams. I'm not going to at this point now with Justin gone, I'm going to assume they're taking Caleb Williams. When you have someone like that under center, it's good to have a veteran center compared to maybe a rookie like Jackson Powers Johnson, who I'm still high on. I like Jackson Powers Johnson as a prospect, but when you're looking at a rookie QB coming under center, you want a more veteran presence to be able to snap him the ball. And I think the Bears really had a good signing there, and I think it's going to be really underrated come next year.
Folks, right now you're tuning in to Chicago Sports Podcast. Please hit that like button and subscribe. Make sure you tell a friend, be a friend all about it. Right now in the building, we have Justin Herbert from the San Diego Chargers and Dano. Also known as Connor Bedard. So
all good options.
Yeah.
Plenty of options. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, basically, what about that defensive end? Do you think that that's just like a filler, a role player? Do you think he could do anything?
Yeah, I think it's more of a just depth kind of signing, and I don't think depth is ever something you can have too little of. So to have someone alongside DeMarcus Walker, who now I'm going to assume at this point, most of the Bears free agency is done. They've made the moves we've expected them to, and trade, at least that I did, and trading Justin Fields and signing some of the positions of need. Now I thought,
do you think anybody out there is like sneaky good that we could get on the cheap that potentially will, make a key impact, maybe even a starter on our team, or definitely a good role player, See anybody out there?
I think if you're going to look at someone to make an impact like that, you got to look at what we need, right? So if you're looking at what we need, again, I assume they're going to take a quarterback, so that's not a need. They signed a running back, that's not a need. They traded for Keenan Allen. You don't really need a wide receiver, but I could see them maybe wanting a third better one over Tyler Scott. So maybe you could look there. So someone that kind of came to mind was maybe Michael Gallup if he didn't command too much money.
Oh, yeah, Gallup. Yeah, the Cowboys, right?
By Dallas. Yeah, so maybe he'd command a cheaper contract. But then if you're going to the defensive side of the ball, I mean, really the defense seems set. Both your safeties are there. Your linebackers are good. Again, maybe you could argue you could get an upgrade over Jack Sanborn, but if he's your linebacker 3, I don't think it's the end of the world. Your corners are set. Montez Sweat is good, and Poles has invested in the defensive tackle spot. Like, I know it's not like the greatest position. Like, if you're looking at the defense, you can definitely point out defensive tackle is like a need, maybe not the best, but I think Dexter will be able to fill a role next year. And then you're looking at that other edge, which I think they're going edge in the draft.
Yeah.
I think you can look at it at that point, because I think I'm at the same point I was last year, where when we're looking at their free agency class, they still had the hole at tackle and it was kind of like looking at them at 9. They were at the same spot. They were at 9, and it's
Yeah.
like, all right, they're probably going tackle at 9 because they don't have anyone there right now. It's kind of the same thing with edge. I believe they're going edge, and Eberflus is going to be able to pick out a guy at edge. So if we're looking at free agents, I think really the only guys they're going to keep going for are kind of your guys like they signed today. And again, I'm bad. So Jake Martin is who they signed from the Colts. I think
Jake,
he's
yep.
going to
What do you think of Clowney, Michael?
Clowney. I think again, if they're going to go edge in the draft, I don't think they need to go after Clowney. Clowney's probably someone that's going to go to a contender that's going to be able to just step right in and kind of take that veteran role to give you some instant impact.
Right.
So I don't think the Bears need to go after him. Now, if the Bears aren't going edge, yes, I think that's a good signing there. And maybe even if they don't go edge, you could bring back Ngakoue too. He's a free agent.
Yeah.
I didn't think he did too bad last year either for the Bears. So I think you could go either way with those two. But just kind of looking at how the draft is set up now and what the Bears have, I think they're going to go quarterback at 1, presumably Caleb. And then I think Dallas Turner goes to Atlanta at 8. So then that kind of puts the Bears in a spot where do you want to overdraft? Because I don't think Verse or Latu are top 10 picks. But if they're your guys, you might just end up taking them there, or you trade back maybe to 13, 14 and just take whoever's left. I don't know what they do there, but I think that's their plan.
Yeah, I think if what they do is if the top 3 receivers are gone, then they 100% they're going to go get an edge rusher. I think there's a possibility if one of those top receivers are there, they may draft a receiver. But I think I'm leaning more towards what I think they're going to do is what you're saying is go after an edge rusher. Even if they do trade down a couple spots, they could probably still grab one that they like.
Yeah, and I think that's a very good point, is one of those receivers still could be there. Now, again, we've seen the Keenan Allen trade. Chargers obviously have a wide receiver need. I mean, Quentin Johnson and Josh Palmer are their wide receiver 1 and 2. That's not ideal, especially even if you're John Harbaugh and you don't believe in the forward pass and how much he wants to run the ball. You still need someone to at least keep the defense on edge that you might pass the ball. And again, I think Malik Neighbors would really feel that need for them. I think the Giants are – I've heard a lot of rumors the Giants are leading quarterback, whether that's McCarthy or even trading back. I don't know. But I really feel like right now the board is set up to go QB, 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 wide receiver, wide receiver, wide receiver, which would be really interesting from just like a historical draft perspective. That like doesn't happen very often.
Right.
But if one of those wide receivers do fall to 9, again, I'm glad I'm not in Poles' position. I don't have to make that decision. But making a decision between one of those guys or an edge, I'd be excited with either. Like at that point, it's a 50-50 tie. Whatever he goes with, I'd trust. Because either of them would be instant playmakers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Blackhawks legend Chris Chelios, Al Bandito Yankee is a tequila experience like no other. A handcrafted, mature, smooth blue agave with 0 additives. Get yours today at elbanditoyankee.com. Yeah, folks, please make sure that you subscribe and hit that like button on our YouTube channel so you can follow along with all of our great content. Right now, we're just in the building with Dano and Michael. We're just going over, the Fields transaction and a couple picks that we've got up along the way. How do you feel about, is there anybody else over there that's any stone unturned with San Diego Chargers? I know Williams is probably commanding quite a bit of money. I know he's had some injuries in the past. So that might not be somebody that we would look at, but anyone at the slot, I know it's like a fire sale over there, Michael, but is there anybody over there that we could probably bring over here or no?
I think they're done on the offensive side of the ball. I think kind of what they have is there. Because I think the big – because, again, they had their big cap issue, right? And they had basically the option between a few guys, and they picked Mack and Bosa. They picked their 2 edge rushers. And I think that speaks volumes to how the league values their edges. Like, you can let your wide receivers go, which we assume, again, Allen's gone. We presume Williams is going to leave. It sounded like I think he took a visit to Carolina.
That's a good point.
Would be interesting to have with Bryce Young. That would be big. For
Very
them,
good point.
in my opinion. So I think they kind of sit here and value how easy it is to replace a wide receiver. And again, and there's a small parallel. I'm a big fantasy guy. There's a big parallel there between in fantasy football. You can find wide receivers pretty easily, honestly, to start in fantasy football. And it kind of parallels back to real life. Wide receivers pop up all the time in late rounds. You go look at Tank Dell this past year. He was a late round guy you found. You can even look at Darnell Mooney, even on the Bears side, 5th round guy, made an impact as your wide receiver too for a few years. And especially in this draft with how deep wide receiver is, I think they're very okay with taking a wide receiver later. I mean, they have the 37th pick. You could take a wide receiver there, 69th, 105th. And this wide receiver class is very deep. If you can go grab someone like Xavier Legette, Ricky Pearsall, that's great, honestly, for them. Those are guys that I think would be 2nd-round picks in most draft classes this year. They're 3rd, 4th rounders just because of how deep wide receiver is.
You know, and you talk about, you know, all of that content where you try to keep everybody together, you know, continuity and all that. Look at Brandon Rice, you know, Jerry Rice's kid from USC. If you do get Caleb, there's his number 2 target in college, Michael. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting point to point out because Brendan Rice isn't super high on draft boards. He's probably a guy you can get in the 4th or the 5th round. Good enough for the Bears. They have that 4th and 5th round kind of in that range to go and get them. It'll be interesting to see how Poles values that. We've seen it in the NFL. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, college quarterback, wide receiver. It kind of took off right away. There was no need to go work out in the offseason, get a connection. They had it right away. We've seen how that works. It'll be interesting to see if he kind of brings that to the Bears or if he tries to go somewhere else. I wouldn't mind it, honestly. I'd be very open to it with Brendan Rice coming to the Bears because they still have that question mark at wide receiver 3. I don't think Tyler Scott's gotten a fair chance to kind of prove himself. So it very well could be Tyler Scott's the answer in that kind of slot role. But I would still be very open to Brendan Rice because you need someone, even at the very least, behind him. I don't think because is Equinemius on the team still? St. Brown? Is that our wide receiver 4 or is it Velas?
I thought he was gone, but I could be wrong.
I think so. I thought he was gone too. So maybe it's Velas Jones. I don't think that's our wide receiver 4. I still think they need another one.
I like what Rich Margin says. Vikings are trying to upgrade for a QB or trade up for a QB. If they take a QB above the Bears 9, then a Dunze, Alter, Turner could be there for the Bears. So again, you know, you're looking at some good names, man. No matter which way you slice it, you get a starter. You get a starter. You know, top 10 picks in the draft. Those are 2 starters day one. You know what I mean? That's good.
100%. Like those are 3 great guys. Again, I think out of all of those, I really like Joe Alt. Joe Alt's going to be a starter for a decade. He's a stud. He's going to be insane for whoever gets him. Again, when you're looking at the Bears, though, I think Braxton Jones is good. Do I think he's as good as Joe Alt will be? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I think that would be an upgrade. I also don't think Joe Alt falls to 9. I'd be very surprised at this point if he does. Obviously, still a lot of time. But I think what you'd be looking at between there, again, I think the Vikings are trading up. I think at this point, I'd be very surprised if they don't. And I think that's exactly why they went and got that number 23 from Houston. I think that was today. I think that was this morning.
That's what they're positioned to do now, man.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I'm praying they don't get Drake May. I am praying to the football gods. What's
your obsession with Drake? What's going on?
I think he's very good. I think Drake May is QB2 easily.
Let's go.
Drake May, if it wasn't for Caleb Williams, would be QB2. Or he'd be QB1. He'd be QB1. He would be by far and away QB1, and it's because he's the prototypical quarterback. When you watch him, he makes these throws. Again, he's 6'4". He's great weight, which, again, that's what I wish Caleb Williams was, 6'4". He's shorter, but I don't think that matters too much for Caleb Williams, where Drake May is the prototypical QB. But when you look at Drake May, it's more of the accuracy that he possesses. I think his pocket presence isn't great. He runs away from clean pockets a little bit, which is a little bit of concern. But I watched him quite a few times being a Florida State fan, just watching ACC football. He will sit in there and throw darts. He throws those NFL level passes at the medium and short level that you have to be able to make at the NFL. And I think that's kind of what will separate him away from Daniels, in my opinion, is he's able to make those throws from the pocket, which you have to make in the NFL. I don't think Daniels
Why is he running away from a clean pocket? What's going on with that?
I can't tell you that. I think it's just a little bit of a lack of pocket presence. And I think that's kind of something you see often. It's something we saw with Justin Fields coming out. He would run away from clean pocket.
Takes off is what you're saying. Instead of just chilling.
Yeah, he kind of hears ghosts.
Nice and clean, plenty of protection. He just kind of rolls out or takes off. And
100%. Okay. Like you'll see some of these guys in the NFL now where they'll have an edge rusher running around them and they'll just step up and throw a dart. We saw that kind of like that Justin Fields to DJ Moore touchdown against Detroit. We saw how he stepped up through the dart where Drake May will just run. And it won't even be like that kind of extreme. You'll just kind of like see like, oh, I don't have the cleanest pocket. I got to start running. That's a concern, obviously, for Drake May, because sometimes that's something you can't coach out of someone. Yeah. But when you look at how he operates inside the pocket, that side of his pocket presence needs work. But his accuracy and his arm are NFL level right now. And that's what I think separates him from Jaden Daniels, because you need your arm and you need accuracy in the NFL. Running is cool, right? That's what we saw with Justin Fields. He was a great runner, a great athlete. Jaden Daniels is a great runner and a great athlete. I think he might be suffering from a little bit of what Justin Fields did with having Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas as his wide receivers. He had a lot of good help at wide receiver that could have helped them a lot and max some of his difficulties. I think he's not the most accurate guy. Again, I watched him in the game where he came to Mizzou. Again, he was great with his legs. He killed us with his legs. That was kind of his like start of his Heisman campaign, in my opinion, was the game at Mizzou where they beat us. But I just think he struggles a little bit as a passer. And in the NFL, Drake May's arm talent and pocket ability to operate in the pocket separates himself from Jaden Daniels. That's my opinion.
Wow. I did just look up Drake's 40 time. It's 4.6. That's not bad.
No, not at all.
I run a 4.62. It's just not in those numbers. Those numbers are there. They're not in that order. Anyway. All right. Hey, it's late. It's late. No more corny dad.
Yeah, this is way past my bedtime, guys.
Yeah, man. I got to hit the gym in the morning, but man, it was good content. And then just as we're getting ready to go, man, and the old Bears are starting to leave, the young Bear hops in. We're like, we could.
Yeah, exactly.
Up, man, so.
Good to have you, man. I'm glad you hopped out.
Man. Thanks.
Oh yeah, I won't be going to bed anytime soon. What is it? 10:30? I'll be up till 2:33. That's kind of a young. I'm
waking up.
That's the night owl in me, man. I just
so really quick before we let you go, because I don't think that we really tackled this well enough yet, or beat the horse into submission. What's your take on this? Are you glad? Are you sad? Are you a little bit of both? The Fields campaign is over. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I'm disappointed a little bit. Again, when you go back to when they drafted him, that was exactly who I wanted. Like, because they had the 18th pick, I believe, in 2021. I think it was that draft class, 2021.
Yeah.
And they traded up, and I'm right away like, it has to be Justin Fields. If they draft Mac Jones, I'm gonna be so pissed off. If they traded up for Mac Jones, I was gonna be pissed. And they drafted Justin Fields, and again, the Bears screwed him. They didn't give him much help. The first year, he wasn't supposed to play much. They threw him in week 3 against the Browns, and he got literally murdered. I think he got sacked 9 times.
Yeah, 9
times.
Like, that was the worst Bears game I've ever watched. Like, that just pissed me off to sit there and watch. And I couldn't believe after that I watched the whole game because it was just so bad.
Yeah.
But when you look at that, and then the next year, they tore down the complete roster. They gave him nothing. I mean, Byron Pringle was his wide receiver too. What are we doing? Byron Pringle is your wide receiver too. They had the worst wide receiver room. They had no great running back. As good as I think Khalil Herbert's a good complimentary back. He's not a running back one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then you had a Cole Kmet who's still developing. He's not the Cole Kmet he is today. It's just a terrible situation, impossible. Finally showed a flash with his legs. And then year 3, they give him DJ Moore and say, all right, you have to go prove it. You have to go show exactly that you're the guy that lead this team. And again, people will say he improved. Yes. I don't think anyone's doubting he didn't improve, but he did not improve enough. I think that's kind of the thing here. He did not improve enough. And I think there's kind of a fine line there between saying he's not good, where saying he just didn't improve enough. And I think that's kind of the discourse here. I don't think anyone, again, I don't think he's super awful. Like he should be a backup. I thought he'd be a starter for someone next year, trying to fill in. Maybe again, I still think he's toward the bottom of the starter tier list. But again, with how quarterbacks are in the NFL, I still think he'd have fit in somewhere as a starter. He didn't, which is disappointing for the Bears. But it's just disappointing to see how they got probably, again, Fields is their best QB prospect so far. They kind of failed him. That's my opinion on that. They failed him. They didn't give him what they should have. And Poles is fixing that with assumingly bringing in Caleb Williams. I think what Caleb Williams is inheriting is the best situation a number 1 quarterback has ever gone
earlier. That's what I said.
Literally ever. I mean, how can you get better than Keenan Allen and DJ Moore as your wide receivers? You have a great a top 12 tight end easily in Cole Kmet. And you have DeAndre Swift, who they brought in, who, again, I don't think is an elite running back by any means, but he's someone that can carry a workload and be a pass catcher, which is super quarterback friendly. You have also a top 10 defense that I think it will be. Again, I've been of the opinion that a quarterback's best friend is not a wide receiver, not a tight end. It's a defense, especially a rookie QB. If they can give you extra possessions to kind of get more points, that's awesome. The least amount of points that a rookie QB has to put up to win a game, the better for them. That's where I stand on this. It's unfortunate Fields couldn't work out. I wanted him to so bad. I bought an autograph of his. I bought a jersey of his. Thought he was going to be him. It just didn't work out. And I think people will realize that in time. Same way they did with Trubisky. I think a lot of people thought similar to Trubisky. They thought he just didn't have the greatest situation. Now he's a career backup. I hope it's not the same with Fields, especially so that they can get this 4th, right? I think we should all still be Fields fans to at least get this 4th out of Pittsburgh, not have him give us a 6th for him.
There you go, pulling us back in.
Exactly. Poles is making sure that we can at least root for Fields one more year to give us better compensation.
Yeah.
But again, I think it's time to usher in a new era. And I'm super excited. I think this is by far the best QB prospect the Bears have ever brought in. One of the best QB prospects in NFL history, albeit at that. It should be I think next year is the year we thought this year would be, where we'd be a playoff team. We'd kind of start making noise. I think next year is the year we thought this past year would be.
Nice.
No, when you say next year, you mean this year, right?
Yeah. Caleb's rookie year. And I think
I'm just making sure.
Yeah, and I think if I want to I would kind of just want to say this real quick. I think there's a fine line between expecting Caleb to do enough and too much. Because we're seeing some people say he has to do this. He has to be this. He has to be this 4,000-yard guy, 40 touchdown. It's calm down. He's a rookie. Calm down a little bit. Again, I've seen a lot of the generational stuff. I don't deem him generational because in the NFL, QB is so situation dependent. It's not like Connor Bedard in the NHL where if you're good, you're going to produce, which is what he's doing. It's not like the MLB with Bryce Harper where
are we talking third person or first person? I'm confused.
We'll go third person. But yeah, you look at Bryce Harper, deemed this generational guy. He still produces. QB is a little different. You have to be situation dependent. Again, if Caleb Williams is as good as he says, he will produce next year. It might not be on this Herbert level, CJ Stroud level of rookie greatness, but he still would produce, in my opinion. And I still expect them to be a playoff team, even with Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
But some people are way overestimating this. They're expecting him to jump in and be Joe Burrow right away.
Yeah.
People need to calm down because you're setting this guy up. You're setting yourself up for disappointment, and you're setting him up for disappointment.
Right.
There has to be a level of rookie mistakes, he's going to make them. He's going to throw bad picks. He's going to throw bad passes, make bad reads. It happens. He's a rookie. CJ Stroud did it. You just don't see it because of how many successful things he did. Hopefully that's what Caleb Williams does.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think he's definitely got more weapons than CJ Stroud did for sure. So maybe not as good of an offensive line, all of that, said, but we'll see, and right now at the end of the day, I want to go back to one of the famous sayings in football from the late Al Davis: just win, baby. That's all I want right now. I don't care who's in the blue and orange, just win, baby. I'll take Drake May. If you give him your endorsement and everything checks out what you just said, he sounds great, man. So I'll take anybody under center right now. So, but yeah, man. Hey guys, thanks for spending some time with us. We knocked us into extra innings over 2 hours, 10 minutes. We had over 130 people in the chat at one point, Michael. So we broke another record.
Awesome.
Yeah,
good stuff. Great, love to see it. Love to see it.
Yeah. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit that like button. Be a friend, tell everybody about us, and we'll see you guys. I mean, if we get some more breaking news, we might see you tomorrow night. If not, for sure Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8:30. So until then, bear down.
Have a good one, guys.
Bear down, baby.